I wonder if I can see myself on Facebook. Funny.
Timeline, friends, group. Okay. It says preparing live stream preview. Can you see that?
I don't see anything on Zoom. I just logged in on Facebook. Uh, and it says introducing messenger rooms for groups. I don't see anything. Rooms. Should we go into the room? Hmm? Events. Let's see.
Stream key.
To virtual going. Okay. Let me click on the.
Okay, I think we're live.
Oh.
Can you see it?
I don't see anything on Zoom, but I just accepted something on on Facebook. So yeah, you let me know if everything is okay.
I think so. I just typed in a title. Oh, it says go live now. Now it says setting up your meeting for Facebook Live.
Oh yeah, no, it's a meeting is now streaming. Yeah, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I see it now.
Hooray.
Cool. Well, thank you for having me, Erica.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate that. If you guys don't know, Alla is a event consultant, and I want to ask her about her experience about doing event planning. So Alla, please tell us some of your great stories, because I know you have a lot.
For sure. So first of all, just a little bit of my background. I actually started at the TV station and was working in the studio, live studio, streaming, basically helping directors to and hosts, news hosts to go on air. But then I found a passion in sports, and I changed my qualification to the sports producing. Then I moved on even further with the sports. I worked for the Olympic Committee, and I did press operations for the hockey arena in Sochi 2014. Then I kept on going with the sports, but more on communication, marketing, and branding at Nike. And then I joined a growth marketing conference team where I stayed for the past 5 years and probably excelled and learned a lot about marketing events, um, and about organization, logistics, and promotion and sponsorships and all that. So for the past 5 years, we were mixing in-person event with virtual events. Uh, we started our virtual events 4 years ago, actually. We figured that it's one of the best ways to keep our community engaged in between live events, because we would experiment every year. We would start with our annual event at the end of the year, actually, but then we would continue with one event in spring and maybe one event in the summer, and then so on and so forth. But in between, we had to keep our community afloat. We wanted to engage with them. We wanted to do something that would be an interest of it. And I mean, it was incredibly important. And I do apologize. Someone is knocking my door, and I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Alla's done a lot of work in the event industry. I'm sure every job has taught her something so she can apply to the next job. Welcome back.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I did not expect. Just give me 1 second.
All right. So how I met Alla, we're in a mastermind group together, and she's helped us a lot, helping all of us put together our own summits. So she's shared her knowledge generously with us. I think the favorite thing she's ever taught me was about our tickets and how we can have just one, so people won't have too many distractions. And you can offer it for free and then have like a duplicate page. So the duplicate page is an upsell. And I thought that was really neat. Um, Another thing, one of our favorite platforms is Hey Summit. Hey Summit lets you set up an event, but you would use Zoom or Big Marker or let's say AirMeet. Oh, welcome back again.
I am incredibly sorry. I didn't know that my boyfriend actually stepped out and he went out. And yeah, I'm really sorry. I apologize for that. So yeah, so what I was saying is basically that we decided that the engagement of the community is very important because we wanted them to come back for the conference, in-person conference. And because we were doing these live events, in-person events, but much smaller groups back in the day. But again, our community started growing globally. So obviously we couldn't invite folks from Australia to just attend a 2-hour event, like a meetup, right? So we wanted to give them something as well. So this is how we started doing virtual summits for growth marketers. And we were able to bring 10,000 registrants for this event, for these kind of events. They were free and they were specifically targeting only on demand generation because we wanted to convert eventually those signups into our in-person attendees. And plus we wanted to give something of value to our community. So that was incredibly important for us. So what started happening is that we started getting more and more requests to post more on-demand videos. And we actually started with our first conference recording all the videos that from the in-person events and uploading them on our e-library, and we would sell access to it. So we keep on monetizing even before the conference started, because we would start selling virtual access to it, and then we would give access to the attendees who couldn't make it to the in-person events, as well as the virtual events that we would do twice a year. So that was the most organic way to grow your community and to actually sell more tickets, because we would give them a gist of what's going to happen at the conference by inviting all these great speakers and giving this content for free right now. And then they're like, oh, okay, so the content is great and the network must be even better, so I should go and check it out. And who wouldn't like to travel to San Francisco, especially when your company pays for it? So yeah, that's something that we learned, and we use these kind of tactics back in the day, before the pandemic. But after pandemic, we already actually had one of the virtual summits scheduled, because this is how we roll. That was our initial idea, and it was happening regardless. So we were preparing for that. But it was really interesting because a few obstacles, because before we would do those events, and it was strictly for demand gen purposes. But here we understand that events is our bread and butter, and live events are not happening anymore. We cannot sell tickets, and we cannot charge people for the virtual events, because the in-person event ticket would be from $500 to like $2,000, right? But then we move to virtual, and everybody's giving things for free virtually, but for free. So that was a huge dilemma for us. Should we charge or should we not charge? If we don't charge, how are we going to make it out there? The business
Yeah.
is based on ticket sales and sponsorships. what do we sell to the sponsors? Because the main idea of the sponsorships is basically going to the conference, having a table at the expo hall, and having one-on-one face-to-face conversations. And this is how you lock your potential customers. Virtually you cannot offer anything. Like, what kind of virtual networking you can offer back in April? Like nothing. So what started happening is that we start talking to our community. We just turn to our community and start asking questions like, what do you want? What do you think will work and not going to work? So the first event, from the technical standpoint, I think it was a good success because we already knew our tech stack. We knew how to organize everything from the technical standpoint. We knew which platforms we're going to use. We knew how to record and go live. And one of the there are two problems that we were trying to solve was basically sponsorships and the sponsors expo halls, and the second one is networking. So
Wait, Alla, I
mhm.
want to ask, how did you ask your community what did they want? Did you do surveys and polls, or did you have like a town hall?
Yeah, great question. So our CEO was actually he's incredibly connected. He's incredibly connected. He has like something 50,000 connections on LinkedIn. So this is something we always would leverage. So we would ask the most loyal attendees and the most loyal community members, because we would always stay in touch with them one way or another. Would that be email? Would that be a LinkedIn message or anything like that? So we survey them through our CEO's profile on LinkedIn. We send a mass mail, but very personalized. Like we are big fans and adepts of mail merge, because it allows you to craft your email very uniquely and very personally. So we would send a bunch of those emails to our most loyal customers and most loyal attendees, and they would just get back to us with all this information that we needed from them. So yeah, that was one of the ways to do that, to collect this information.
Okay, that's good to
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, yeah, but it's incredibly important to talk to your community, to listen to your community, to get the gist of what they want, to speak their language. And yeah, just always, like, I know it's not probably a good idea to have your favorites, but sometimes it's yeah, it's just the way it works. So yeah.
Like favorite customers.
Exactly, yeah, because I'll tell you an interesting story. So one time, our one of our attendees, so he bought these. He bought the most expensive. I apologize for that. Um, yeah, so sorry. So unexpected. So he bought the most expensive pass, which included, it was back in the day when in-person events were happening. So he bought the most expensive pass, which included the VIP dinner and something else and something else. So we we got a chance to become really close friends with him. So we started learning about his company. He started learning about our company, who is behind this conference. He didn't know anything about us. He just saw the lineup of the speakers. He saw that the networking opportunity is great and everything was just fantastic on his end, but he didn't know who is behind this conference. So we became friends. We started learning about his business. He started learning about us, and the next event, he actually became a speaker at our event. So he got to experience like other side of the event, which is incredible because he experienced our project management, our onboarding processes, and how efficient the company was with everything that we line up in front of him. So he enjoyed that experience as well. So what do you know? For the third time, he came back as a sponsor, as a paid sponsor, because he trusted, he knew exactly what to expect. He knew that we are delivering results, that the event is very exactly what he's looking for in terms of new clients for his own agency and so on and so forth. I mean, you never know how your community can help you and how you can impact on your community, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping with this group, that we can help each other. And I've always heard people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So it's good to have
Exactly.
friends.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, for sure. Yeah, having these conversations and like round tables, be open for like Q&As and everything. Oh yeah, it's definitely increased the chances for success.
What do you think is the best way to get feedback from the community?
First of all, if you already have a platform, most of the platforms, they already have these polls or surveys installed in them, integrated in them. I should say, first of all, define your goal. What is your goal of this survey? Like, what are you trying to learn from these data that you're collecting? So first of all, let's say you want to understand your community persona. You want to understand who are the people that are joining your community. So when you go and push the promotion, you can say, okay, join our community of da da da. So you can say who these people are, and you can throw all the stats and numbers at whoever you're trying to recruit into your community. So first of all, end goal, like understand your goal, like what are you collecting this data for? Second, as I said, like most of those platforms, they already have all these um, integrated polls and surveys. Leverage your email, personal email, basically saying, hey folks, I'm just conducting this survey because I want to learn more about you and more in about the content that you're looking for. Or again, whatever you're doing, be frank and honest with your community what you're doing there. So you collect these data points and they become an incredible value for you. Share it with your community as well. And another thing what you can do is when you do the event, for instance, and you are bringing your community because of the event, and you want to improve the experience of the event. This is slightly different goal, so you can send them a post-event survey, and my favorite number is 5 questions, no more no less, 5 questions, just to understand if your attendees are getting a value off of it, what exactly did they like, what would they change about your event. So again, you know your audience. You should be very savvy in the topic that you're bringing to your event and bringing to your community. You need to understand that so you can ask all the right questions. So these are probably my tips on surveying. But yeah, it's all those tools and the platforms, email, just yeah, just define, be very clear with your goal. That will help for sure.
That's a great answer. If you
Mhm.
don't start with what you want, you will end up with just anything if you're not clear on your goals.
Exactly. Imagine that lots of marketers doing one big mistake. They start collecting lots of data. They're using all those marketing analytics tools, and then they sit with this data and they don't even understand what to do with it, like how to read this data. Like, okay, I have all these like 10,000 response, but I don't understand what to do with it, So, um, so yeah, be specific, set those goals, like understand what are you looking for, what challenges you're trying to solve there. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you prefer now virtual events, or do you still want to go back to in-person events?
Oh, 100% I want to go to the live, to in-person events. I mean, there is no substitution. I mean, let's be honest. We are not substituting in-person events with virtual events. It's just a temporary adjustment, and it's just add on to the in-person events. That's what we're dealing with. But however, I was telling that at the end of last year, because I start seeing it, that there are more industries that would never think of doing events or like open up for different opportunities to be creative in what they produce and how they produce and thinking different. They start doing that because there are more opportunities with lower costs involved. You know, for instance, would you ever consider yourself as a, let's say, summit organizer, but in person? Like, do you think you have enough budget to rent even one room at the hotel to organize something? I don't think so. We don't have this kind of money unless you work for a company, or you have your own business and you have all this like budget set up, you know. So, but the deeper you start digging in it, the crazier those prices go. You know, you don't even realize how much you need to spend on that. But
I
with the
believe it.
virtual event, with a virtual event, you can start a Facebook group and go live um, twice or three times a week, and you start growing your community. And then you can switch to a platform. Yes, you might invest a little bit on like your own money in it, but then you actually will make a profit off of it. And we have a mutual colleague of ours, Daniel, who the greatest example of how it turned out for him. I mean, that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm still keep thinking how he succeeded, because he followed all the right pinpoints there, you know. So I think more and more unexpected industries will come up with events, with virtual events. But eventually everything will turn into in-person events, like slowly, gradually, like with small groups. Then it will turn into hybrid, and then we'll be fine with having just in-person events, large in-person events. Maybe not this year, definitely, but in a couple of years for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Like right now, I'm in South Carolina. All of
mhm.
these buildings are for sale. They're really cheap, and I really want one. Or I could just get some land and put a metal building on it. I was like, in-person events are gonna come back. I just really hope so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But just think about it. Talk more to people who are used to organize in-person events, just to understand the volume of what comes with in-person events, because you cannot treat virtual event like in-person event. These are two completely different types of events in terms of what you invest in, what you use, and what tools you're using for it, you know. For instance, if for the in-person event you are renting the venue, translates to paying for the virtual solution platform, right? You're charging for tickets here, you're charging for the tickets, let's say from $500 to like $1,000. For the online event, your most expensive ticket is going to be $500. So but at the same time, the venue will cost you, I don't know, it could go up to like $100,000 from top of my head, just because if you're renting something empty building, think about renting furniture, like like small things, just like tables and chairs, right? Then all the AV costs, all the
Yeah.
internet is the most expensive item on this list. I mean, there's so many things that falls into like logistic and organizational things, that when you think of organizing virtual events, you see that you clearly see the difference in price, in the effort. Food and beverage. Oh my God, that alone will cost you. I don't even like one. I mean, it depends on how many people you invite. Yeah. So.
Yeah. All those little things add up. Now, I would have thought
Mhm.
catering would have been most expensive, not internet. I'm thinking it's supposed to be free. Right. Oh well.
Yeah.
So hopefully let's give it 2 years, fingers crossed, we're back to in-person events. So you would keep the virtual. Would you do backstage passes as virtual, or would you just do keep your twice, once a year virtual events?
If it was up to me, it depends. It depends on what kind of industry I am, what is the purpose of those events, and so on and so forth. Because the conference that I used to work with, unfortunately, that company does not exist anymore. We had to shut down that business, not COVID related, unfortunately. But that was the beauty of it, because you as a small business, not belonging to a big brand like Salesforce or Inbound or something like that, you can actually experiment as much as you want. You want to do it 5 times a year, go ahead, do it 5 times a year. One time we did 6 conferences a year. It was exhausting. No one actually liked it, and we realized that's not a good strategy, to be honest, because we did not make enough money that we projected. So the expenses were higher than the profit. The loss is higher than the profit. You need a way bigger team, and our team was only like 4 people working full time, and the rest are seasonal, and that's very hard, and we worked in like 5 different time zones. So and we did this conference in different locations, and one of the conference was in Atlanta, and it was horrible hurricane there, so we didn't even know if the conference is going to happen until the day of the conference. So there are so many unpredictable things. So I say experiment based on, again, on your goals. Set the goal first, like go with the goal, but you need to be very, very firm and clear. What do you want? What are you looking for? So yeah, and then you can do as many as you want. Some brands doing like 50 events a year.
Wow.
I mean, why not? Why not? If you have a budget, if you feel like this is something that brings you new clients or it brings you profit, it's a brand awareness. Again, depends on the goal. So there is
What's the
truly no limit.
what's the smallest budget you ever worked with to pull off a virtual event?
I think it was this year, the very, very first virtual event. I cannot tell you like exactly how much money we had, because basically we didn't have any budget for the event. So I say minimum budget that I worked with was 0. So it's basically you need to go around the room, around your vendors, and convince them to work with you on a barter basis. Crazy idea, but possible, again. But it works only if you're in a long trusting relationship with your vendors, and they know that you will come through eventually. They just trust you. So basically they would give you use the platform, whatnot, in advance. So that's how we did our first event. It was incredible because we wanted to go live, but we didn't even have money to invest in any live streaming. So we had to go with the platform that we used before, but with a very like special arrangements and special plans that they let us use. Then it was we worked with Hey Summit, and we explain our situation as a small business who basically, yeah, so our business is basically is like tickets and sponsorships and the events, and it's not happening, so we are in a great jeopardy at that point, so this is exactly was the problem for us. And when we asked Hey Summit, like, hey guys, do you have any room for us to still keep our event on your platform, but we just cannot afford monthly payment? And they were generous enough, and they had this special program for small businesses who basically got frustrated and damaged by COVID, so they gave a special rate there. So I mean, there are so many solutions for that if you have minimum of the budget. So yeah, instead of all these Facebook ads that we usually would go like full mode for promoting our in-person events, we went with our media partners, just exchanging email blasts, social media posts, and so on and so forth. Strategically choose the right partner who can help you spread the word about your event. It's very, very important. So you can save a lot by creating these incredible network around you, for sure.
That's great having so many people willing to help you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so I'm a fan of Chris Bayless. He
Mhm,
runs the Sponsorship Collective, and he says if you barter, you're leaving sponsorship dollars on the table. Would you agree?
mhm,
Because your story just made me think you work with great people already, just
mhm.
donating that stuff. But he says bartering is possible sponsorship.
We did a lot of we had a line of we had a list of paid sponsors, and we had a list of barter sponsors. Again, it depends of what kind of value you can offer to a sponsor and what sponsor can offer you in return. If you feel like this is a good match in that your business, like, you can help each other businesses, I say go with it. If you don't see the value, if the sponsors don't see the value, first of all, they won't sign up for a barter, for the barter deal, right? And why would you need that? I mean, if you have nothing to offer, don't try to over promise and go over your head. Like, don't do that. Like, I'd rather not work with people than I would promise them something that I'm not able to deliver. So that's how I feel it should be done at that point, for sure. But I don't see anything bad in barter deals. Why not? Just one thing to keep in mind is that when you barter with someone, it has a little bit less responsibility, and it blurs the lines of to deliver, like the deliverability is kind of blurred, because sometimes you would hire someone to help you with something, like, let's say, designer, and so, like, if you help me to design these ad banners, for instance, and I'm going to put your logo on the website, is that enough motivation for them? Probably not, but they still want to do that. But they will never put you on the priority list because you don't pay them, because those people get paid per hour, per actual labor, so
Yeah.
it's much easier to go with someone who's offering you software use, because it's not like, it's not going to cost them anything, to be honest, to use their software, but they still get in value of what you're doing. But if you involve someone who is actually working, like putting their like man hours into that, be very cautious. And I'm not a fan of these kind of barter deals, for sure.
Understand. I mean, I've always liked bartering, but when he brought that up, I was like, is that true? So I had to ask.
Mhm.
So going forward now, still in virtual events, do you have like, I was told that I should have a signature event. What do you think about having a signature event?
Signature event. Again, what is your goal?
Yeah.
Your goal is to put your brand out there. Your goal is to put your name out there. Do you have a product? um, who are you? What are you doing? So define your goals. That's the most important. If you have a product, go for it. I think it's beautiful to put a signature event. Like most of those brands, this is exactly what they're doing right now. Like I already signed up for like 2 or 3 of signature events organized by brands, so and I know like Salesforce, they have the Dreamforce. That's the signature event. What's harm in it? No harm. It's beautiful thing. It's an amazing thing what they do, what they manage to organize, because they have these probably unlimited budgets and great talent to put everything together. As a small business, again, we created growth marketing conference, and that was the signature thing. And for us, and people knew growth marketing conference name, so they would be willing to come to our virtual events and our meetups, and all other initiatives that we would start doing and putting our logo on. So yeah, of course. And we would have our flagship event every year at the end of the year in December, and people were anticipating it. I don't see harm in it. But again, before you start doing your signature event, you need to start to be recognizable, because you cannot start your first event and like, this is my signature event. Signature of what? Like, who are you? It's like,
Understand.
yeah, it's like going out and say like, let me give you my autograph. And then who are you again?
Yeah.
So same with the event. So yeah.
So I guess a build up to that would to be to build up your content. And I've always heard that virtual events is a great form of content marketing.
Mhm.
Agree or disagree?
Oof, such a tough question these days. I mean, because we got flooded by content. It's like it's coming from everywhere, like everywhere, whether it's like social media, every brand is doing content, every business doing content. It's tough right now to pick from this huge pile of content something that you really need. But I think what's going to happen this year, it's going to be more refined. It's going to be more refined because people will be more selective in what they want exactly, what the delivery they want, because we are we observing information differently. Some are visuals. Like I'm a visual. I'm 100% visual. So I really like seeing not presentations per se, but I understand numbers, let's say, better if you show them to me. So do like I do like listening, but mixed with a visual. So for me, it's better absorption than just reading plain text, for instance. So blogs, I'm forcing myself sit and read an article or blog. I get absolutely distracted. So I'm easily distracted from, let's say, plain text rather than video. So first of all, I think it depends on the delivery of this content, and not even the quality, because what I've understood and what I've learned, that it doesn't really matter what you put there. There is always someone who will find it useful, because for some people it could be too advanced. For some people it could be exactly what they were looking for. Sometimes you can say, like, I go to all these like organizing, like events or groups or like workshops, and like one of the events that I attended yesterday was organized by this event solution platform, and they were giving tips on how to organize, like what not to forget while you're organizing your virtual events. I don't want to brag, I don't want to say anything, but I do have experience. So pretty much everything they were saying, I'm like, okay, I know that. Like, tell me something new. But that's for me because I've been doing it for 5 years now, But for people who are just starting, they were like, oh my God, this is great advice. And I'm like, really? I mean, like, it's obvious. So you see, so there is always a content for someone, you know? So I don't think people should be afraid of posting their thoughts and their expertise there, sharing it, charging for it, because when you look when you look at this work, you understand that you actually took your time to learn about it, to study this, to talk to people. You invested your time, you invested money into that. So it's, I don't think it should be a problem to charge for something like that. So I say contents, yes, definitely. It's just will come out in different forms and shapes, but the quality of it is going to be better depending on the industry. Like marketers, extremely picky, know exactly what they want, and yeah, they're just spoiled. So it's going to be probably the hardest group to sell to. The rest of us, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think that's true. Like,
Mm.
I'm a marketer and I kind of want things the AppSumo way. Like, can I have this
Mhm.
as a lifetime deal? No, why
Mhm.
not? Have you spoken to
Yeah,
AppSumo lately?
yeah.
I've only done that to one company, Toasty, but he was a
Hmm.
nice guy. Um,
That's cool.
so I'm a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he says that content should be free. But
Hmm.
I also want to sell tickets for summits. So I'm torn. Can I get your opinion on that?
Sure. Yeah, the content should be free. It's easy to say when you, again, you work for a big company, you get paid to create content and post it on your company's page, you know. Of course, it's very easy when you have a company that has a budget to organize everything, you know, um, and the goal is like demand gen, and the goal is brand awareness and thought leadership. Go for it, give it for free, of course. And when you're a small business and your bread and butter is actually content, like those tickets in exchange for content, because again, why would I give it for free? I worked for it. That's my full-time job to bring this, and this full-time job pays through the basically like all these ticket sales covers my full-time job, you know. It's, there's no brand that has product and basically getting money from this product and then pays my salary. It's like there are two different ways about it. It's like it depends on what kind of content we're talking about. So I'm not a fan of Gary. So I disagree. I don't think so. I don't think
It's
so.
okay. I
Yeah.
also read from Eventbrite that a minimum ticket should not be free, that it should be a minimum of $5 because
Hmm.
people will be more likely to show up if they invested even that little bit of $5. So it's like,
So, hmm, yeah, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say,
Sorry.
you just confirmed that for me. So no
Mhm.
more free conferences for me.
So here's the thing about difference of like free limited, like freemium, and then charge it for something. This is what works the best. I think lots of people will be stopped from and prevented from buying even $5 ticket, and you will lose money and you will lose a lead basically. So I say my favorite formula: give free access, but be very clear that you give an access for free for only like 2 or 3 sessions. There's no networking, there is no access to my library, like nothing, but you get the gist of it, like something like a community pass, for instance, so they can just get around, you know, and become part of your community. So you got the lead, and then you can create a drip campaign to upsell those tickets, to explain all the benefits that they're missing out. And then you have paid ticket, because I surveyed people, attendees, and I asked them specifically why did they pay for the ticket, and they said because of the convenience of watching it on demand, because I cannot spend all day watching your sessions, but as soon as I saw that it's included in the ticket, I paid for it because my company actually paid for it. Here you go. So I say even $5, I mean, it might sound not that much, but I wouldn't pay. Like, I wouldn't pay $5. Like, what is this $5? Because again, like, you give me $5 now, what it's going to do to you, especially with Eventbrite, who collects, like, I don't know, a bajillion percentage of those fees. Like, what it's going to do to you? I don't see the value of it. It's not going to do that much of a profit for you, to be honest. So I say limited free tickets, upsell, all access ticket. I think that makes so much sense. And there's
Okay.
so many variables on tickets. So, like, and in it's up to you how you want to restrict or do not restrict something. Some people give like 1 day free, and then they upsell tickets or something like that. I feel like the best formula is just give a teaser a little bit, and then yeah, and then they will end up paying. That's it. And always, when you promote your event, when you promote paid events, never sell a full price tickets. That's a huge mistake. That would scare off everyone from your event. What you need to do, you need to always promote promotions and discounts. That will attract people. It's a simple user psychology. Because just think about yourself during Black Friday. What do you want? You want to see all those like 70-80% discounts, and it triggers instantly in your head, oh my god, I will never get these huge discount again. Because what? Because the number is very high, 80%. Oh my god. Second of all, urgency. Oh my god, it's only Black Friday and it's going to be end soon. And third is like, oh my god, this is a great deal, one lifetime great, once a year great deal. So there you go.
Now I'm torn. I'm a fan of Ramit Sethi, who says never discount, but at the same time, I know that you're very good at your job, and I believe you. So
Never discount, but I think what what's meant by that is, again, be smart. So this is how it works. This is the hack. If no one was aware of that. So actually, the price of the ticket, let's say $97, and that's your original price. But what you want to do, you want to send them to the page that says original price 500, like 900, oh no, $497. Then you cross it and you put $97, and it's about 80% discount. But your original price is 97. That's how you never discount, but you kind of sell it with the original price. But again, this is how it works. This is how all the shops, this is how all e-commerce work. This is how marketing works. This is the user psychology.
everything I see on YouTube that's talking to me about e-commerce, I'm like, skip, but now I'm going to pay more attention to it.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great way to learn about sales. I mean, ticket sales. Like, understand the psychology, like why they do what they do. Because you know that when you go to the store and you see the price of whatever, of, let's say, this cup is like $10, but you know that the real price of this cup is probably $2. So you know that I mean, there are so many factors. So you need to, before you just put a random number on your ticket, go and do simple math, like what is the cost per customer. That's what you need to do. CPC, you need to do simple math, like how much did you invest in platform and advertisement and whatever involves in it, put a price on it, and then you can do the math basically. This is
Okay.
how you, yeah, this is how you will figure out the right price for your ticket. And this is how you will understand if you are equaling to zero. So you like basically you spend $100, you got $100, or you can spend $100 and you can get $500 because the price was right. So
So itemize all of your tasks and figure out a price for it.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly. Yeah,
I got it.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's neat. I don't know why I've never thought about that before.
Oh, nice.
How I priced my last summit, I just asked all of my speakers what it was for graphic designers,
Mm-hmm.
freelancers becoming business owners. So all the women I spoke to in the conference, they were agency owners. So I just asked them
Mm-hmm.
how much they thought, and that's the price I
Mm-hmm.
put on there. So,
Well, it's one way is to basically measure the temperature, like to understand like what people are willing to pay. Because again, going back to my survey that I did, I asked people how much, like what would be the maximum that they would pay. And that was very helpful because like in my head, I imagine that probably having a price of like $200 is like the maximum price for the virtual event ticket. But turned out that lots of like marketing agencies, marketing companies, like SaaS companies, they do have educational budget, and this is something, do not forget about it. If especially if you're targeting people from the companies, not self-employed like you and me, they do have budgets, educational budgets for like per department, and they can spend those budgets on virtual events. And those budgets can go up to $1,000 because now they don't have to travel, they don't have to pay for hotels, they don't have to pay them any expenses or anything like that. They sit at home, they just swipe the cards there and watching the video, and it costs them three, four, five times less than a trip to San Francisco from Australia. So
yeah. I was wondering, should a virtual event cost less than a live event? I have seen a lot of people do the discounts for virtual, but
mhm,
at the same time, I'm thinking if you're giving sponsors the opportunity to be in front of a target audience, then that should be worth something, not less. And that is convenient for companies to have their people just be at home and still get training. It's like
mhm.
you're kind of coming to them.
Yeah. So we did estimation, and we lowered our prices by 40% per sponsorship, because again, um, still figuring out, and lots of sponsors still don't understand what kind of value they're getting out of it. I like, I don't like, and I never support those virtual booths at the event. I simply don't understand the purpose of it. It's just basically you sending someone to sit in front of their computers and waiting that someone will stop by your booth. I don't understand that. Like for me, it's like a waste of time and waste of money. I don't understand that. So what are you charging for having my logo on your website? um, I don't know. It's not worth it in my mind. It's absolutely not worth it. What I want to get is maybe thought leadership. I want to be a speaker at your event, because even right now, potentially, I'm speaking and someone is listening and they are interested in working with me. So potentially, I can get a new customer at the end of this conversation. And this is what the sponsor should be doing. They should be giving out some really good some good information and knowledge, and share this knowledge and give that out to tease the audience, so they're, oh my god, he knows what he's talking about. And they're giving talking about study cases, how they use this or that. Maybe I should pick his brains and understand more about certain topics. And he was talking about using the tool, like his own tool that he's trying to promote. And actually, I want to try this because it showed like great results, like whether it's like SaaS tool or something like that, like numerous of things, like coaches. Like if we gonna do like live Q&A with a coach, and I have this opportunity to ask a coach live question, I will decide that moment if I want to keep working with this person or not. So that's a great opportunity. That's what sponsors should be doing. They should be sharing this knowledge and doing Q&A so they can communicate and they can be as transparent as possible with the audience, instead of sending your salesperson sitting at the booth. Send your person to the live chat while you speaking on the screen, so the salesperson engaging in conversation in your live chat. Boom, this is how you get your customers, at least spark an interest. And virtual booths are like, I don't know, waste of money and time. So I I would say, like, don't invest in that for sure.
That's a really great idea, sending them to the live chat. I like that.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
guess we should wrap up now. Do you want to tell people where they can find you, just in case there's some sponsors out there who want to work with you?
Or
But I'm not sure if I'm froze or you're froze. Well, I can put on in the comments your contact information, and maybe they can find you on LinkedIn. Hello again.
hey, okay, okay. Now, I guess now we're back. Okay, good question. So I'll probably go ahead and just post all my credentials on Facebook page.
Okay.
But yeah, feel free to find me on LinkedIn. I know my last name is a disaster, so I'm just gonna paste it from the Facebook. Yeah, and I'm gonna post my email there and my LinkedIn. Yeah, you can reach
Okay.
out to me by yeah, via email and LinkedIn. I would love to chat and answer any questions if you have.
That was it for me. But I appreciate you giving us your time and your information, sharing all of your knowledge with us. So thank you.
For sure. I'm honored to be your first guest. So thank you so much.
Woohoo!
And I hope, yeah, congratulations. So, yeah, great job, Erica. Great job moderating everything and great questions. I really appreciate it. I'm wishing you all the best and good luck. I know that your community will grow, and you'll hit your goal, because you clearly know what you want. So you're on the right path. So, yeah, I'm here to support you anytime. Just let me know.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.